further ado, I do have a special guest, one of our very own, very talented travel designers here at Briar, Maine, Miss Ellen Wayte. So I'm gonna get her on here. See, here she comes. Hi, Ellen, how are you?
I'm good. It's a beautiful day here in Oregon too. Spring is finally.
Oh, yay. I love Oregon. I used to live in Washington State, so I know that whole area. Yeah. Awesome. So what are we talking about today? So when we say adventure travel, what specifically are you wanting to chat about?
So I specifically wanted to talk about one of my favorite destinations, and that's Africa today. I used to be a tour leader, and I ran these adventure travel trips all over the world. I was in South America, I was in India, I was in Central Asia, but kind of where my heart is and where I spent the most time is in Africa. So I spent quite a bit of time taking these wonderful trips all over the continent, everywhere from Egypt way up in the north all the way down to Cape Town in the south. And it's a place very near and dear to my heart. While I was doing these trips, I married a guy who is from England, but he lived in Zimbabwe for a while. So I have a stepdaughter who lives in Zimbabwe. So now I have extended family living in the continent as well.
That's amazing. So what got you into the travel industry? So you've had these awesome experiences. What brought you into the travel industry?
So I was a proper adult with a proper adult job. I was a director of marketing for a commercial real estate company for quite a while. And then, as you know, 2009 hit, and suddenly the real estate market just tanked. And the company I was working for was kind of struggling a bit, and they kept downsizing. During this time, I went on a fantastic vacation. I went to Kyrgyzstan, of all places, and went with a company called Dragoman. They do these overlanding adventure tours, and I had a great time. I came back to my job, and they told me that I was going to be downsized soon. And so I wrote back to that company and said, hey, are you hiring? And turns out they did. And from there, I ended up working for them for about 5.5 years.
Awesome. So when a client comes to you and says, hey, I've been having this dream that I really would like to visit Africa. I have this on my bucket list. It's something I really want to do. Or maybe a honeymoon couple comes to you and says, I'd love to do an African safari. What would you recommend somebody when they're deciding what part of Africa they want to visit? What would you recommend?
Absolutely. And that's a great question because, as you know, it is a huge continent and it is very diverse. And some things are going to be really obvious. Some people are interested in Egyptology. Obviously, you're going to go to Egypt and possibly Sudan. Some people are really interested in kind of the cultural aspect of Africa, in particular music and dancing. West Africa is kind of going to be where most people gravitate for that kind of trip. But I would say most people, like me, are wildlife lovers. And when they think of going to Africa, they think of seeing the big five. And the big five is, you know, the elephant, the black rhino, the buffalo, the lion, and the leopard. These are the iconic big species of Africa. So if you're going to Africa for a first time to see these animals, you still got quite a few options, but you've narrowed down from East Africa, basically from Kenya all the way down to South Africa. So I would urge people to start thinking about those areas. This next thing I would ask them is what time of year are they going to be able to go? There's some parks and areas that are great all times of year. I have been to the Serengeti probably 20 times in almost every month, and the Serengeti is always amazing, even though sometimes you might see the wildebeest migration, sometimes it might be more rainy, it might be more dry. You're still going to see lots and lots of animals all the time. Versus down south, if you were heading to places like Namibia, seasons is going to have a huge role in what you see and what you don't. Namibia is a very dry country, which means when it is raining, the animals all disperse. They've got lots of food, they've got lots of water, so they're going to be all over the park. The grass is going to be tall, they're just going to be a lot harder to see. A place like Namibia, if you're thinking of traveling in the months of August, September, which is their dry season, everything comes to drink. For the most part, almost all animals have to drink every day. There's a few exceptions that have adapted, but your elephants, your lions, they all need water. And so Namibia, in those months, everything comes to these little water sources in the park, which means it's really easy to see things. So if you were thinking, time in the end of the North American summer to travel. Southern Africa, South Africa, parks like Kruger, Botswana, the Okavango Delta, and Namibia are going to be excellent bets just because it's so dry that you just basically go to where the water source is, make yourself a seat, have a sandwich, maybe a beverage, and watch as all the animals come. It's pretty amazing.
That sounds awesome. Wow. Thank you. So if you guys are just joining us, welcome, welcome. You'll see our picture switch, but my name is Malia, but this is Ellen Wayte. She's sort of our adventure specialist here at Briar and Main Travel Boutique, and we were talking about African safaris and honeymoons to Africa and just bucket list trips. So our next question we have are, what are your favorite parks and why?
Yeah, so as I was just mentioning, Namibia, I absolutely love that country. It's beautiful and diverse, wide open spaces. The big park there is Etosha, and I love it because it is so easy to find wildlife during those dry seasons. If you are staying within the park, there's some lodges as well as campgrounds. They have actually put these huge floodlights on the water holes there, and they surrounded them with fences, so it's nice and safe. And so at night, after you've had your meal, you can have a cup of hot chocolate or a good bottle of South African pinotage, head over to the water holes and sit on this bench and watch as all the animals come and take turns drinking. And again, it's like a private wildlife show. Absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Up north, you can't go wrong with the Serengeti and the Masai Mara. They are famous parks for a reason. Just a high density of wildlife. You have a really great chance of seeing cats in both those parks. When we think of Africa, we think the Lion King, and we think these open plains with what are called copy rock formations, and that's the Serengeti. So you always got this beautiful backdrop, and you just can't go wrong with that park.
Wow. Okay, awesome. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and we'll see if they pop up, we'll answer them. All right, next question. So, what are your favorite parks for families and kids?
Yeah.
For my family, yeah.
Yeah. You have to have some special consideration if you're bringing kids to Africa. You want to make sure that you've got access to slightly higher level of facilities. You want to make sure that, parks are clean and safe. If your child would happen to get sick, that you've got easy access to good quality medical care. That's why I really like some of the Southern African countries and parks for that. Kruger is a great park in South Africa. You are very close to Johannesburg, which is also, great if you would have an emergency situation. There's also direct flights to Johannesburg from the eastern part of the US, and that cuts long flights. Normally you have to fly from the US to Europe and then all the way down. It can take 48 hours sometimes. But Johannesburg, you can be right in there, and from there, either a short private flight or a car ride, and suddenly you're in Kruger. And Kruger's got great facilities, wonderful lodges. A lot of the roads are actually paved, so you don't have some of the dust problems you do in some of the other parks.
Right.
They also kind of cater towards kids. There's some parks that have special safaris for kids, and guides will take you out to look at the little things in Africa, whether that's lizards and dung beetles and all the fun stuff that kids play with.
That's awesome. Oh, my kids would just eat that up. My mother-in-law is actually from South Africa, so she was able to go back and she grew up there until she was about 13. So, and then she immigrated to Canada. All right, so my next question is, what's your favorite parks for honeymooners?
Yeah, a lot of really great romantic parks. The Okavango Delta in Botswana, Moremi region is it's so exclusive and so private. Some of the higher end lodges there, you probably won't see any other people besides just a small group that's at your lodge. You're going to fly in on a small plane over these beautiful flooded areas, watching the elephants, and then these high-end luxury lodges. Absolutely romantic and beautiful. Mozambique is really nice because you can both visit some of the parks to see wildlife, and then you're on the coast, which is excellent for scuba diving. Mozambique, you get whale sharks, you get manta rays. Absolutely beautiful. I think the most romantic thing you can possibly do in Africa, though, is to take a hot air balloon ride over the Serengeti. Oh, yeah. Absolutely incredible. You'll leave just before sunrise. You're coasting over the plains of Serengeti, watching the wildlife below, and then you land, and they do this full English breakfast with white tablecloths in the middle of the Serengeti. It's absolutely incredible. Nothing else like it on Earth.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh, I better ruin my honeymoon over again, I guess. All right. So if someone's ready, they want to go on a safari, what are some things they should pack for safari?
Absolutely. I would say if you are packing for your safari, get out all the clothes that you think you're going to wear and then take half that. You're going to be wearing the same few things over and over again.
Isn't that the truth for most trips, though? Like, you always just overpack just a little bit, right?
There, you're just going to need comfortable clothes that wick moisture and dry quickly and are really breathable. I will say, if you are going to be in places like Southern Africa, South Africa, and Namibia particularly, make sure you're bringing warm layers. It's really easy to forget that it gets cold at night. I have woken up in Cape Town to snow and frost on my tent in Namibia, so it actually gets surprisingly cold there.
Oh my goodness.
Another thing to think about is if you're doing some of these higher end safaris, you're traveling a lot by small planes and they have weight limits. So make sure that you have a good look on that to make sure you're not over the weight limit. A lot of them want you also to be packing in soft luggage, so duffel bags versus hard cases. And then finally, try to prioritize all your camera equipment. You're going to want to take lots of pictures, and if it's between another pair of shoes and a lens, go with the lens.
Yeah, right? Pictures last a lot longer for sure. Yes, awesome. All right, and then the biggest question, I guess, is what kind of budget should you prepare for when you're planning an African adventure?
Absolutely. And great question. I think one of the biggest misconceptions people have about African safaris is that they are all extremely expensive and high end. And certainly you can do that. You can easily spend $1,000 or more a day on a high end safari. And they're wonderful. I mean, what you're getting for that price is things like you're going to be on a chartered small aircraft that gets you into the park. So you're not wasting time at airports or spending the time to drive. The location of some of these high-end lodges is absolutely exceptional. There's a company called And Beyond that a lot of the high-end travel agencies use. For example, they own their own private island, Menemba Atoll in Zanzibar. I mean, they have one of the only lodges that's right on the rim of Ngorongoro Crater. So everyone else basically to get to these locations has to spend their morning driving or via boat to get there. And with wildlife, early morning sunrise is often the best time to see things. So spend money, you are right there, and everything, you don't have to spend that time going. And of course, the quality of the food and the quality of guides and smaller. That said, you can also spend as little as $70 to $100 a day doing an African safari.
Wow.
And the easy way to do that is through a company that offers overlanding tours. And this is what I used to do. And overlanding is basically kind of a guided camping expedition. So you're all in a big vehicle, usually a converted truck that's got seat for, most groups are around 12 to 20 people. So still a fairly small group. And then all your camping equipment is on there. And because you're camping every night, obviously it's affordable. Everyone pitches in, and so you help make dinner, you help with the cleanup. It can actually be really fun. One of my favorite things to do would be to send my clients into this big, crazy African market and say, like, hey, go find dinner tonight. Here. And there's some nice things about actually traveling by overland. On the higher end safaris, you are right in the parks, but sometimes you miss seeing, real Africa. When you're on the overlanding trips, you're driving through the small villages and seeing the women hauling water and seeing what they're growing in their fields and, the structures that you're living in. So that can actually be a really nice way to see Africa. And camping is lovely there. The Serengeti, there's not that many lodges actually in the park, but there are campsites, and it's pretty amazing. You pitch your tent, there's no fences. Everything comes through. You'll hear lions and hyenas and elephants right outside your tent.
Wow.
And pretty amazing. There's nothing like it.
Gosh. Oh my goodness. So does anyone have any questions? Do you guys have any questions that you want to ask Ellen about her experiences working and being a adventure travel specialist. So I'm just going to pop on here. Hi, Kristen. How are you? There's Tris and Deanna, Christiana. Hi, Christy. And Jordan. Hi, Jordan. So if you guys give us a like or a comment, I'm not seeing any comments right now. But what is the best way to reach you if someone were to have questions that maybe they missed this live? How would they reach you? What's the best way?
Absolutely, and lots of different ways. You can head over to the Maine Briar and Maine website, and then you go to the contact and make sure that my name is up there and let me know what kind of trip you're interested in. Certainly, you can reach me via Facebook, both at the Maine Briar and Maine page. I also have my own Facebook page, Ellen at Briar.
Awesome. And then I'll put that at when I post this live video, I'll put her info in the comment, or not comments, it might be the comments, and I can also put it in the description as well. Thank you so much, Ellen. You are just a wealth of information, and I just love having you part of Briar and Maine.
Thank you.
And,
I talk to anyone who's interested in Africa. I can talk your ear off about Africa and wildlife. I will bore you silly because it's one of my favorite things to talk about.
No, it's just an amazing topic, and I think there's a lot of people out there that it's a bucket list item for them, and I think they're going to really appreciate what you talked about today, because they probably didn't know a lot of this stuff, so including myself. So that's really helpful. Well, if you guys have any questions at all, pop them in the comments. Even after the replay, you can shoot us an email. There's Ellen at briarmaintravelboutique.com, or at our website, www.briarmaintravelboutique.com. You can find her under Meet or About Us. There's a Meet the Team page, and you can click on her picture, learn all about her, and then enter your info in her contact page, and I'll go straight to her. But other than that, thank you guys for joining us live. I really appreciate it. Our plan is to go every Wednesday live with a new travel topic, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye, Ellen.